Yeah, it's been a while since I did a video. Been busy, but wanted to respond to American Wayne. I suggest you also watch 5 Point Baptist's response, which is excellent and far better than mine. But I wanted to respond because he said that what happened in Japan, well, it wasn't God's fault. And my response is, how is that a comfort? What's going on? It wasn't God's fault. What, did it happen by accident? Did he not mean it to happen? What's the issue? Is God popping in and out of time? Well, he's doing good and he's forming things. Oh, something's bad's about to happen. Let me step back. And then when the bad thing happens, he pops back in again. What's going on there? And how is that a comfort? I was reading and finishing up my reading in the Torah. And in Deuteronomy 29, God lists blessings and cursings. But read through the cursings. And it all says God does this. From natural disasters to famine to economic disasters to fear that drives them insane. God says He does this. In judgment, if you do not abide by the words that I am giving you and obey my covenant, all these things are going to come upon you. If you notice, one of those verses involves cannibalism. Think about that for a minute. How many passages do we have in Scripture? Like, read through the Psalms. Read through, you see the end of Job, where God asked Job a bunch of rhetorical questions and involving nature. Where were you when I formed the heavens and made the foundations of the earth? Controlling nature. Read through the Psalms. He sends the rain on the just and the unjust and provides food and all of this control over nature God has. But somehow in an event like this, what? That's not God. As if somehow we need to protect Him. American Wayne's video wasn't biblical, and it certainly wasn't logical, but I don't see how it provides any comfort either. At the time the tsunami warning is issued, I live over on the East Coast, and I remember I saw what happened in Japan, and you get the tsunami warning that's coming to the West Coast. If God wasn't involved in that event, if that wasn't God's fault, as if it happened, I don't know, accident, he's giving up control over the universe for that particular moment. If God wasn't in control there, why pray? How many people, when they saw what happened in Japan, you get the warning issued for the West Coast, are praying? But if God's not involved in that, why pray? Can He stop it? As the tsunami's coming to the West Coast, can He stop it? And how is that consistent? God didn't mean for this to happen. God wasn't involved in this, but we'll pray for Him to stop it. So it's okay for God to do good to us, but not okay for Him to pour down His wrath upon us? That's kind of like a parent. It's okay if you give me an Xbox. Don't punish me when I curse at your face. What is that? It's an emotional sentimentality view of God's love. It certainly isn't any sort of biblical or logical view of God's love. I have a book. Right here. It's John Frame's book. Okay? The Doctrine of God. Theology of Lordship series. I think it's volume 2. I suggest you read it. It's not a hard read. It's a big book, but it's not a hard read. And he goes through and shows how God is sovereign over history, over people, over natural, the world, the earth. But I want to expand upon something that hit me last night. If God's not in control, naturally, whether it be I still don't understand how that works. He didn't mean for this to happen. So all these people are killed. He didn't mean for it to happen. What's to stop him from, logically speaking, spiritually? I trust Christ for my salvation. I trust the Spirit to sanctify me and keep me, because in my flesh dwells no good thing. But if you have this happening by accident, he didn't mean for it to happen, he wasn't involved with it, spiritually speaking, can I slip through the cracks? Can he not mean for somebody to go to hell? It's a rather dangerous viewpoint. Somehow trying to defend God and the issue of theodicy because you're afraid of what the world's going to think of you. Because it's not popular with our postmodern relativistic culture to say, yeah, that was God's wrath upon a people that refuse to believe in him. He gives them breath, he gives them life, he gives them air, he gives them the food that they eat. He provides everything for them, and he is not even an afterthought. He does not even enter their minds. You're not protecting God by saying he wasn't involved in that. Listen to some of Hitchens' debates. He will mock you to your face over that sort of silliness. And even Hitchens and most atheists I encounter recognize the bankruptcy in that statement. Well, he wasn't involved in that. Well, then he's not God. The Bible speaks of no such thing as purposeless evil. Read all through Jeremiah, and what do you see? He brings good, he brings calamity, he brings evil. Now, I'm not saying God's the author of sin here. That's a different subject. But to say that somehow God doesn't mean for things to happen in this world, it certainly isn't biblical. It's not in Deuteronomy 29, and it's not throughout the major and minor prophets. Read through how many natural disasters are occurring in the book of Revelation. No matter how, I guess, you interpret it, that's one thing that's clear. God's using natural disasters to bring his wrath down upon mankind. I hope American Wayne rethinks his viewpoint. I thank 5 Point Baptist for his videos. I think the one was entitled God and Disasters, and the other was a response to American Wayne. I don't remember the title of it. But I hope American Wayne rethinks his subject. Because if memory serves me correct in the video, his response was to what an atheist said at the beginning. And in so doing, all you did was give the atheist fodder because of your inconsistent and unbiblical response. Because somehow it's not popular to say that, you know what? Much like it teaches in Romans 9, that there are some that exist to reveal God's mercy and God's compassion and God's love. But there are others that exist, like Pharaoh, that exist for God's judgment, God's wrath, and to reveal his attributes of justice and purity and perfection and holiness. And that those people whom he has mercy look at those people that are enduring God's wrath and recognize that should have been us, and they glorify him even more. But that's not popular today, is it? And you see what happens in American Wayne's video when you have an inconsistent theology. I hope he thinks about this. Like I said, I realize it's not popular, but thank you.